What's up, nerds? We're your hosts. I am Chad.
And I am Jake. This is our weekly podcast where we explore the world of nerd from TV, movies, games, comics, news, and books.
We will give you our opinions, theories, and oftentimes spoilers.
We will also have friends and experts as guests on the show to elaborate further on those topics.
But be prepared. We like to have a few drinks, so buckle up.
If you want to support our show, like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
You can also become a premium subscriber over at buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Now, Jake, I hope that you had a good week this week. With that, let's just jump right into our first topic. But first, cheers.
Ooh, that one went down good.
Yes.
All right. So our first topic is we're going to talk about X-Men 97. We've talked a little bit about it here and there and also whatever. We want to go a little more in depth with it because this show is getting a lot of recognition as it should, and it's just getting better and better and better as it goes on. So we want to talk about it. Before we do, spoiler alert, as always, if you haven't watched it, check back in. But here we go. That was super lame.
Glad you said it.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, a lot of the cameos, we kind of talked a little bit. There's a ton of cameos just in this show in general. It might like too loud. I feel like the microphone's like right in my fucking face.
No, you're good.
A lot of the cameos are unfortunately done by Morph, who just morphs into other characters that they don't have to write any dialogue for or write them into the episode anyway. So it's a little lazy, but still fun to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Morph turn into the Blob. In this episode, they turn into Juggernaut,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's like
Wasn't
there for
what was the early one? There was more too. Not that it's like a huge talking point. We don't need to like run through all the.
yeah.
So my bad.
But we do in this episode see Magneto go full like Omega level power,
Mm-hmm.
which is so rad. Basically using his magnetism over the entire fucking planet
Mm-hmm.
to shut down the New Age Sentinels, which are basically just humans.
I was like zombies.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
We get some cameos during that scene of basically just people like watching it and being like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah. Who was your favorite
Oh.
one?
Well, come on, you already know.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite one is Spider-Man, OG Spider-Man from like
The
the
90s
animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was also cool to see Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom, Silver Samurai.
Yeah, Silver Samurai was cool. They don't explicitly say that it's Rachel Summers, but we see someone in San Francisco using the Phoenix Force, which was cool too. I don't remember Rachel popping up anywhere in the original animated series, but still cool to see.
I mean, we saw Juggernaut, but again, it was just Morph
Yeah.
as Juggernaut, so no context, no dialogue, just a brief animation.
They were the Juggernaut, bitch. The,
Oh, Vinnie Jones.
just the worst dialogue. And then we also see Polaris, which is pretty cool too.
There's more. There's a ton more. I mean, if you guys want to like post anything, please do. But I mean, it's just not worth. I mean, we could talk about all of the cameos. And
Yeah.
they'll just keep going and going and going.
What I don't understand is obviously Magneto used his powers to shut down the Sentinels,
Hmm.
but he put an entire like magnetic field around the planet. He must have murdered like 80% of birds by doing that. Right? Like
Um, yeah, it was what? Oh God, I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
sorry, bud.
Damn, no, not from your.
All,
It's not
all
your
for
fault.
an aviary joke.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't your fault in any way. No, that was very funny. Um, God damn it. Oh, that's what it was. Uh, Wolverine gets his moment finally because I think part of what is such good writing about this show is that they made an entire franchise of like Wolverine movies. So we've already seen enough of Wolverine, right? Not
Yeah.
that any of us are sick of it. We want more Wolverine. Don't get me
Especially
wrong.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, but when they're doing the show, they're like, we don't want to do that same like trope that the movies did, where we center everything around Wolverine,
Yeah.
right? So Wolverine has really taken a back seat in this show, until this episode. He has his moment, which is a dope fucking moment.
Talk about it.
Oh, I'll talk about it. His shirt gets ripped off. It was so hot. No, um, yeah, I mean, he ends up single-handedly like fighting like five or six of these like sentinel zombie human things.
Yeah.
Basically, they're like whatever. I don't want to get into that.
They were infected with the same technovirus from the future which is why Cable was sent to the future.
The past.
No, baby Nathaniel.
Oh, I
Sent to
thought
the
you were saying
future.
why he came back. I was like, back to the past.
Well, yeah. So he went days into the future, but then came back to the past. Sorry, that was cheap.
But you can't go back to your original whatever, blah blah blah. I was gonna try to quote Avengers Endgame, but I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know the actual thing. You tell me
if
Back
you-
to the Future is a bunch of bullshit.
Everybody knows that if you go to the past and make changes, that if you go to the past, that past becomes your present. Your present can't affect your future's past.
Yeah, it's something yeah, along those lines. I gave up.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have this. I'm done. But yeah, Nathan Summers, aka Cable, aka
Winnie the
Josh
Bish.
Brolin,
Oh, yeah. that one.
aka Winnie the Bish.
But also, the Sentinels during this epic fight with Wolverine, he's thrown into like a burning room, comes out, like you said, shirtless, and just like, weird.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And the Sentinels are like, why do you try to fight us? You don't have a good reason. And he's like, lady, I got 6 right here. And shink.
Yeah.
And then Nightcrawler is like, 9. I've got 9 reasons.
No, he was like 9. I'm
Uh,
German, and I'm saying no.
Yeah, but
I'm
then
outta
he's
here.
holding 3
just
swords
kidding.
and is like, 9 reasons.
I was making a joke.
I know.
but
And I didn't get it until I started to over.
I was if you hadn't mentioned that, that's what I was gonna say next was how badass that scene was with him
Yeah.
using his tail, and he was very Renoro Zoro from One Piece, is what it was reminding me of. The 3 swords. It was badass, so badass.
Hell yeah. And thank God that we actually see him like wielding a sword with his tail and kicking ass, because they alluded to it slightly in X2, where Nightcrawler just has a knife in his tail, but then that's the last time that he really uses his tail, except for like grabbing stuff.
I will say that in X2, excuse me, that opening, was it the opening scene? I think it was.
It was.
With Nightcrawler just taking out the entire Secret Service was fucking baller, dude.
Yeah.
But then they did him dirty for the rest of the movie. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that was X2.
yeah. Yep.
Nightcrawler has been seriously underplayed in live action, like a couple of cool moments here and there, and then the rest of it, he's just there to be blue and funny.
Yeah, I was like the comic relief kind of.
Yeah.
No.
So it was very enjoyable to see him both be like a moral standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
you know, referencing his family ties with Rogue.
Those of you who don't know, is it Nightcrawler and Rogue are brother and sister, right? And
Well, Rogue is like his adopted sister because Mystique is his mother, but she kind of like took Rogue in later.
I'm pretty sure Mystique is actually Rogue's mom in real life.
Maybe in the comics, not the animated series, just because I just finished watching the
Yeah,
original 90s, like, you know, a few weeks before the show dropped. But
gotcha. Yeah, I think so. When they were, I won't go into this super far. Sorry. When they were babies, Mystique gave them up, and Rogue went to a human family, not knowing that she was a mutant. And then when they find out she's a mutant, they get rid of her. But
Okay.
yeah, her and Nightcrawler are brother and sister. Mystique
Okay.
is their mom. Yeah.
The more you know. That wasn't me waving you off. That was me trying to have the animation of the more you know.
No, I know what you were
And
doing.
then you hear the
You're good.
NBC. Beep,
Yeah,
beep,
I could
beep.
see it actually as you did
That's
it.
because I'm
Wow.
so good at digital animation. Clearly.
We did a really good job. So, those of you listening, we didn't have a ton to talk about this week. We've done a really good job of stretching this out.
What can I say? We're good like that.
I don't. Had I thought about it, and I didn't because I forgot that we switched sponsor spots. I would have led something very funny, or at least tried to, into sponsor number one, and I totally forgot. And I just looked over and I was like, "Oh fuck! I've already exhausted all the like X-Men talk that I can without just bringing up like random facts to try to make it work." So
Did you know
That
that
being
the Phoenix
said,
Force
that being
so
said,
hot?
sponsor number one. Sponsor number one, our title sponsor, is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up and we'll tell you more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
All right, friends, it is time for Trivial Nerd Suit. This week's question, as always, was prepared by Marty over at digicattech.com. Chad, you ready? I'm just gonna go right. I'm just
I'm
gonna go
ready.
for it. All right, let me send it. Okay. Did you get it? Is it popped up? What was the original name of the first Star Wars movie when it went into production? Put your hands up. Hand check.
Blue Harvest.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
No, that was Return of the Jedi. God damn it. Okay.
It's a long-winded name.
Yeah,
Ready for it?
I am ready for it.
All right. The original title was Adventures of Luke Skykiller as taken from the Journal of the Wills, Saga 1, The Star Wars. The Star Wars. Saga 1, The Star Wars.
That that explains why the first one was called uh
I thought you were going to get it, and I was going to be so mad.
no, I'm so mad that I answer that so confidently. Because when Return of the Jedi was filming, they put out fake production things
hmm
saying that it was filming for Blue Harvest. Um, I'm so mad that I was so confidently wrong.
Yay. I was wrong like 2 weeks in a row. That's the only reason I'm taking happiness on your wrong.
It's totally fine. I guess. Dick. Well, if our listeners would like to try and stump one of us, um, go to www.allthingsnerdpod.com, use our contact form, and submit a question. Make sure you put in that contact form or in the message part who you're trying to stump, and then it just might end up on the show.
Yeah. And it goes through a third party. It goes through Marty over at DigiCat. So DigiCat Tech.
Yeah.
So neither one of us can see the question. He sees it. He comes up with the questions. So we can't cheat.
Yeah.
Not that we would, but we can't if we wanted to.
Cheating's wrong. Okay.
Okay.
I'm really mad that I got a Star Wars question that completely wrong. There's been a couple of times where like I got them half right. You know, I got the main part of the question, knew who it was about, whatever. All that to say, today while we're recording is May 4th. So happy Star Wars Day to our listeners. By the time you hear this, it will be happy belated Star Wars Day, but May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
Let's get in. Jim
I hate
Kirk was
myself.
a
I hate
Jim Kirk
myself.
was a bitch. Fanboys, anyone?
I love that movie.
It's so good.
Oh, fuck.
I think I have to watch that tonight just because it's Star Wars Day.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
It's so good.
Yeah. Rather than like, I just made Nicole watch like last year all the Star Wars movies that are out anyway, you know, and all the Star Wars shows and whatever. So I can't like make her rewatch. I don't think she likes to rewatch things as much as I like to rewatch things.
That's
I have movies
fair.
that I've seen like 10 times and I can't get enough of it. You know what I mean?
I used
And
to
like she watches
date
something and
someone
I'm
like
like,
that.
want to watch this again? And she's like, we just saw that. And I'm like 6 months ago.
yeah, but like it was good.
Yeah.
We know it's good. It means we won't be
Um,
disappointed at the end of this viewing.
But I don't think I've ever made her watch that movie. So maybe I'll watch that. That's got to be on your thing.
It
that
is,
We don't
yeah.
talk about. Okay, cool.
Well, I have a movie server. How I acquire some of those movies, we're not going to talk about.
It's not illegal.
File sharing isn't all that
Let's
illegal.
go.
Let's get in some nerd news. Yeah, cool. One thing that came out this week that's super cool, we got both concept art and actual photos in Empire Magazine for Captain America 4 Brave New World with Anthony Mackie as Captain
Mm-hmm.
America, not just Captain. Um, be weird, if he was just called Captain.
The suit looks awesome.
Yeah,
It's different from what we saw in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
a lot more blue.
A lot more Steve Rogers-esque.
Not to be confused with Asterix. Uh, sorry, that was a cheap joke. No, it looks sweet. And the concept art for Joaquin, is it
Torres?
Torres.
Torres.
I almost said Flores. Um, Not gonna.
That's the guy that works for my company.
I was gonna say I used to work with a guy whose last name was Flores, and that's why that was stuck in my head. We used to work together. It's cool.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But that looks sweet. It looks.
We haven't seen the actual suit yet. We saw the concept art for it, and it looks dope.
It looks. If we're going off the Ultimate Comics timeline, it looks pretty comic accurate. Also with all the greens, in the helmet as well, instead of just the eye mask, which is pretty cool. Just a little bit more functional and military tactical, but it looks rad. I'm excited.
There's also a little bit of concept art, one picture that I saw for Red Hulk. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I couldn't tell if it was actual concept art or just like some
bullshit. Yeah, you never know. But
photoshopped.
I
Hulk red.
assume maybe it's real because they did release those things, so maybe. But take it with a grain of salt if you see it. We don't know.
It looks rad.
No, red.
Yeah, that's what I said. Rad. You're an idiot.
I am an idiot.
I'm really excited for this movie. It's gone under a lot of reshoots, rewrites, and now that they're pushing forward, I'm hoping that it means that it's going to be good.
And we know that part of this movie is going to be Genosha, which is a huge part of X-Men 97 this season. So that's going to be... And now we also know through watching X-Men 97, if you look carefully, we've talked about it already, you can see the Watcher is present watching.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, whether it's... I don't know when or where, how, what, when, who, where, why, how, but it's going to be canon.
Yeah, and on top of that, we at CinemaCon this past year, during Marvel's presentation, or the Marvel side of Disney during their presentation, it for the X-Men project that's coming up, it used to just be called The Mutants or something like that. They weren't quite ready to say X-Men. It has been rebranded as X-Men.
Nice.
Which is pretty rad. So,
little sexist.
Yeah.
We're going to call it X-Force.
It's a bit derivative, but,
Go, 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 go!
Thunder!
If you know, you know. My go-to order at the bodega. I lost myself on the page. Sorry. We also we don't know if this is going to be animated or live action. I should have done a little more research into it. I'm sorry for that. But the Marvel zombie movie, which we mentioned this probably 2 years ago, a year, maybe 2 years ago. I don't remember. It was a while ago. I think around What If season 1 is when talks about it started happening, because they did one episode of it.
That must have been at San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago.
There
Yeah.
is a Marvel Zombies movie coming out. Whether it's live action or cartoon, we don't know. But they announced that the main character will be Miss Marvel, which is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Because whether it's voiced by or played by in live action, oh shit, Milani. What the fuck's her
Ilma,
Eman
Iman or
Milani
Ilmont.
Volani? Fuck.
Wow, we
Look it up.
sound like pieces of shit right now.
Yeah, we can like start that over. Miss
Iman Vellani.
Iman. Fuck. Volani. It was Volani. Damn it. Turn that.
We're so sorry.
Sorry. We really like you.
Yeah, you are perfect for this role. Like you really, like she really is. She kills it. Okay, so
She
Miss-
kills it harder than we killed saying her name.
yep, which is saying something because you could
Killed it.
change our first names to Billy because we butchered that. Uh, Donuts.
I got it.
Yeah, Miss Marvel is going to be a focal point or the main protagonist. We don't know a lot about this, just that
There was rumors that it was going to be Blade was going to be the main, but now they switched it to Miss Marvel.
probably because
This
they're
is
not confident in how the Blade production is going.
gone through like 5 rewrites. Fuck.
Four directors,
Yeah.
three different time periods. Yeah, I'm stoked for this though.
Yeah. I kind of would you prefer it to be animated or live action?
It depends on the rating that they're gonna give it.
That's what I was gonna say. I think if we're going for like a more bloody kind of thing, or just in general, PG-13, you can get away with more in a cartoon than you can in like live action. So, but I think it'd be more fun to see it in live action.
I do too. And now that Deadpool and Wolverine has officially, is officially rated R, means that Marvel is okay with opening that door,
Yeah,
especially
being a
for some of
little
these
less.
darker stories
Yeah,
or alternates, whatever it is. So, if it's going to be live action with zombies, it needs to be rated R, just for the gore alone.
yeah,
I'm not going to be mad if Miss Marvel doesn't say fuck. Like if there's not a lot of cursing in this, but if it's live action, it needs to be rated R so that we can get good gore. I
hmm
mean, zombies. Like that has to be a part of it.
yeah.
If it's animated, like you said, you can get away with a lot more without taking that R rating, but still needs to be up there. Um, I was just rambling, hoping that you would take over.
No, I was like, because I brought that last one in, so I was waiting for you to go.
yeah. Captain Britain, from Marvel, is in development. You're the one that told me about this. That's kind of why I was waiting for you to take that one. But it's going to be a TV show.
A
You were
series,
saying?
yeah.
Hell yeah! A lot of people are speculating that
Cavill. I was gonna say Daddy Cavill, but
I was just about to say that Daddy Cavill.
Henry Cavill, maybe. We don't know. We know that he's in a Marvel role, but he could be. There's also rumors that he could be a Wolverine variant in Deadpool, and that could be it. That might
or
be
a Magneto.
yeah, or yeah, the Meg. I
variant.
saw that one too.
Uh,
Yeah, I think
bring
that
in
one's a
some
little
wit-
more fan made just because he had the long white hair in The Witcher.
Yeah,
And they're like, he looks like Magneto in X-Men 97. But this would be an awesome role for him just because we talked a little bit about this off camera. I don't want him to get into another contract, like a long-term contract, only because I love Henry Cavill so much that I don't want him to get another like shit stain on his resume because the Superman franchise, Man of Steel franchise, fucking that all got fucked up. and then that
Witcher.
looked bad for him. Not if you're a fan, you know that he didn't do anything, but it looks bad on a resume. And then The Witcher, and then now I'm like, I don't want him to sign a long-term contract with Marvel because I don't know what that's gonna look like in the future.
Yeah,
So
have
a
him.
short term, like one series, like
Yeah, have
Captain
him
Britain, I'm all for
come
it.
in for
Go
a
for it.
series with options to reappear or extend.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if it's good, then hell yeah, keep it running. But
But I also really love Henry Cavill as an actor in general, and the superhero trope has kind of like followed him around quite a bit since Man of Steel, and he's
because
so much better than that that I'm
yeah,
like, maybe like I want to see it cool for like just because like sorry, that looked really weird. I'm like just because, oh my God. You know. But
but
you
same.
know, but I really just want to see him doing stuff like Guy Ritchie. Like he just worked with Guy Ritchie. He's got another Guy Ritchie movie coming out with I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Isa Gonzalez. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. So like I like that stuff too. So like don't just box yourself in, you know?
yeah,
Sorry. I get a little worked up when it comes to Henry.
yeah. First name basis, cool.
Yeah, he's my boy.
uh, this was super cool. Do you want to take this next
No,
one?
nope, you do it. You told me about this.
Yeah, but you told me about Captain Britain.
Hey,
You made me
okay,
do it.
you go.
Um.
I'm chewing ice at the moment.
So obviously, a grain of salt. We don't know for sure. This is real life nerd shit. There's life in space. In the universe. There's other life in the universe, which is pretty rad. An astronomer at the University of California. Oh my goodness. University of California, Riverside. Uh, Shangmin Tsai. I don't know if I said that correctly.
He
Um,
sounds very smart.
I mean, professor of astronomy at a high end college. I would hope so. Um, use the James Webb Telescope to look deep into space. For all of you people that follow astronomy, it's within the Leo constellation. Don't know how clustered that shit actually is because space is scary. But found signs of life on a planet that an exoplanet that they have dubbed K2-18b. Um, but there's hydrogen, there's carbon, and beneath the atmosphere, so on the surface, they've seen an ocean, which means that there's also oxygen. So all of the things that are carbon-based life forms, like bacteria or fucking humans,
Sharks. Sorry.
every single life form is carbon-based. That's just facts. They have been able to detect those building blocks for life there. And what's even more crazy is that they have been able to detect dimethyl sulfide, which only living creatures produce.
Yeah.
It's a waste product, not project.
I love waste projects.
Same. It's like most of my life. Um, but it's a waste product of living organisms that are typically found in like the Earth's ocean. And there's a higher concentration of dimethyl sulfide on this exoplanet than there is on Earth, which is fucking insane. I mean,
Yeah.
we speculated forever. We talked about the lights on a different exoplanet.
I knew when James Webb when they sent it out, I was like, we're gonna find life in our lifetime. Are we going to interact with other life forms in my lifetime?
Probably not.
Probably not, but we're going to find it.
Yeah,
And we just did.
on one is speculative on the one with the lights that looks like, a city grid system,
Yeah.
but there's chemical compounds that are only produced as waste from living organisms that have been found on this planet, as well as high concentrations of hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. That's life. That it might be less developed. They
Yeah.
might just only be single cell organisms,
Yeah, I was going to say they could
or
be microorganisms. Yeah.
or very
But,
like
but that's still
unsophisticated
life. That's
But yeah,
alien life, regardless.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you will, extraterrestrial, because
Hmm.
terrestrial means life on Earth. For those of you that didn't know that.
Um, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. This is also a real life thing. Not as mind blowing, but a little more sad, unfortunately.
Mm.
The alligator that played alligator Loki in the Loki series got kidnapped. Unfortunately, somebody maybe from what I read or understood of from what I read is that somebody saw it in someone's lawn, maybe thought they were doing them a favor by being like, "Oh, I'll get this alligator out of your lawn," and took it out of the lawn. And somebody saw that alligator running around and called the cops. And then the cops released that alligator. What was his name? Fuck. Wally. Wally. His name was Wally.
Oh.
Released that alligator into the wild, thinking it was a non-domesticated animal. And it is. It grew up with this guy.
Yeah, like basically in isolation or
Yeah.
in domestication. Yeah.
And chances of survival or finding Wally the alligator are 0 to none. So he's probably dead.
That's so sad.
Very sad. R.A.P. Wally,
And this was in Georgia, you said?
Georgia.
Georgia in the United
That's
States.
what it said in the article. I didn't
Uh,
say it. I read it. Just saying. But
So probably, unfortunately, Wally got released into the Okefenokee swamps, which is massive and has hundreds, if not thousands, of wild alligators and crocodiles.
and for an animal that's never had to defend itself, he's probably dead.
Yeah,
Very sad.
super sad. That's such
On a brighter note,
yeah. Let's move on from the sad animal facts.
you go.
We got another trailer. Fuck. I meant to rewatch it before we started recording. For The Boys. Season
Bloodier trailer. If you've seen it.
4.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. And like kind of weird. There's like flying beavers or
There
capybaras or whatever they are.
yeah, it got a little weird in the trailer, but also we do see that Sam from Gen V is in the trailer. So some of that might be from his perspective, because also the whole puppet thing.
Mm.
Oh no, not the flying animals. I remember that part now, because that seems to be like a weird.
Like even Butcher was like, "Fucking run!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically come across a soup that I think can like break his body apart into smaller living animals that
Yeah.
also fly. It's fucking weird.
We don't fucking know. Yeah.
Oh,
They're
I
like
forgot it,
shooting
yeah.
a chicken, and the chicken is like unfazed.
Yeah. And then
I
there's
have-
like a dozen chickens and it's chasing them. They're like, fucking run.
And like ripping people apart. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks wild. I am still 99.9% percent the buzz is catching up to me. Uh,
Proud of you.
um sure that Sam is the new Black Noir.
Ooh.
We talked about this before. Don't
Yeah.
act surprised.
I forgot that. Fuck you, man. I I don't have the best of memory. Okay. Sometimes I forget that we talked about that.
I'm almost positive that he is. I mean, Black Noir is dead. He is the only
Yeah.
person. Not only is he the only person that has those like same abilities, basically, but Black Noir was also fucking loopy in the brain.
Yeah.
So, so is Sam,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Cohesive.
That's a reference
Fuck.
to what we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But also, Ryan, Homelander's son, his powers are starting to come in. And we see him throw someone into a wall,
To
splatter that body.
Yeah, it's like to their death.
Yeah, and then Homelander's like, "That's my boy.
Yeah.
Oh no, my boy. Father help."
Mother hope. Yeah, fuck that kid.
Yeah. Choosing to be like, I want to be with my dad, even though he's psychotic and a fascist.
Yeah.
You still made that choice, so you're also psychotic and a fascist.
I really love
Because real
that
men
they're
wear
like
diapers.
tying in like real life things to this show.
Yeah, it's so.
It's awesome. But we also see Butcher basically begging the rest of the boys for help. He's like, "Hey, I can do one last good thing with my life with the time that I have left because at the end of last season we know that Butcher is dying from using the Compound V to
Yeah, like
yeah,
they're temporary.
yeah. And uh yeah, looks it's like lost myself. So sorry. I told you Buzz is catching up with me. But yeah, so it shows all of our main characters together and he's begging them for help. Begging them for help. My God. Say something, Chad. Save me. I will say MM is looking good, man. That dude lost some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And less facial hair. Unless I'm misremembering, because didn't he used to have a beard? Like a
Yeah.
very tidy beard?
Hmm.
I thought I saw a clip in the trailer where he was clean shaven.
I don't know.
Um,
There's a part in the trailer where they show somebody, I'm not sure who, tackling the kid, the one girl's kid. That's
yeah, the
a
senator.
soup. Yeah,
Uh,
Senator. I forget the names. I should have pulled it up on my
yeah.
three-screen computer in front of me that I used zero of for talking about this. But yeah, the head exploder bitch.
Yeah.
Chick. Fuck.
You're so good at this. But we know that in the last season, she gave her daughter Compound V.
Hmm.
Um, so now we're starting to see those powers manifest, and good fucking god, there's a kraken in her mouth.
Hmm. Newman. Victoria Newman.
Yes.
Fucking hell, Jake. Sorry about that, friends.
It,
Hopefully you're still our friends.
we're sorry.
We're sorry.
But yeah, and tentacles grabbing and ripping people apart, throwing them across rooms. This is gonna be fucking insane.
They show the Deep just fucking murdering somebody with a baseball bat. I mean,
Yeah,
like it's gonna be. I'm so excited. I'm so fucking
yeah.
excited.
Homelander is basically gonna make them either follow his lead or kill them.
But at the end of the trailer, when Billy Butcher is begging the boys for help, what he says is they found a virus that infects all soups.
Yeah.
And he wants to unleash that virus.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see what happens. I know that it got renewed for more seasons, so clearly this won't be the end of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Plus, from our conversation with Russ, now I'm tooting our horn. Uh,
Yeah.
Russ Braun. We know we have a little bit of insider information on how it should go down in the end. But
Yeah. Man, I'm stoked for the new season. A thing that helps with getting stoked. That was a stretch. I'm sorry.
I was gonna.
Uh, I mean, our other sponsor this week is Raised Energy Drinks. You know, it's an energy drink with 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. Helps you get stoked. And if you don't like energy drinks, that's totally fine. They have a lot more to choose from. Supplements, protein-packed desserts, lots of plant-based options. You know the drill. Listen up, learn how to save 15%. We'll be right back with you to talk about sugar. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their Refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
All right, friends, we're gonna talk about Sugar now streaming on Apple TV. This has been something for the past few weeks now in our honorable mentions. This show as of
This past week.
last night. What? No, yeah, last week, Friday. Sorry.
From when
'Cause
the,
today-
the episode comes out, yeah.
Yeah, so as of last night, Friday, it has upgraded to nerd status. And no longer just like, hey, this is a cool show we're watching.
Did not see this coming.
No.
I was a couple of episodes behind, and you're like, have you watched it? And I was like, I'm a couple of episodes behind. You're like, you need to watch it because it's now like something that we can talk about
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Like,
and I was like,
actually talk about.
what?
What?
uh,
I mean, the show is really, really good already without this like crazy twist that just happened in this last episode. So before we get started, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, check back in, you know?
Yeah.
But the show stars Colin Farrell. He's like a private investigator that's also like in a group of private investigators, and they all kind of just
they're not all PIs.
Yeah.
Some of them are like philanthropists, some of them are historians. Like it's like one of the most boring secret societies until you get to this episode.
This episode,
which is episode
it
6.
makes sense. But we know let's lead up to it. We know from earlier seasons, we know that Colin Farrell's character, Sugar, cannot get drunk.
Mhm.
He explains this in episode 1 or 2.
I think it's
To
one.
let's not make the same mistake
No,
we just
I
made.
have it pulled up.
The blonde girl.
Amy Ryan.
Okay. He explains to her that he cannot get drunk because of some bullshit.
Like a weird metabolism or some shit.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like I can drink as much as I want and I'll never get drunk, blah blah blah. And we all kind of like brush it off like, yeah, whatever. Okay.
You
Um
just
what other weird shit keeps happening throughout the show? Let's go shot for shot here. Name one, I'll name one until we run out of them. Let's go.
um a big one is that he like can immediately make a connection with animals.
Hmm.
We see it a couple of times. He even ends up taking in a dog from a homeless man who dies, unfortunately. Um, but then takes his dog in because he kind of has like a caring heart. Um, but like immediately bonds with the animal and it's like perfectly trained. You
Yeah.
know, doesn't bark, doesn't need a leash, stays near him. If he tells it to stay, it stays and waits for him. Like
Yeah.
immediate bonds. And then we see it again in this episode with like guard dogs, and he just is like shh, and then they like stop.
Are complicit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then immediately
Um,
they're like, "Oh my god, I love you. You're gonna
yeah.
pet my belly? Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
love you."
And he's like, good boys,
Yeah.
yeah. Another one is uh he catches a fly with chopsticks,
Yeah.
which I remember watching that episode, and when that happened, I like looked at Nicole and I was like, that's fucking stupid. You
He
know?
he would have to be like such a highly trained like Shaolin monk.
But now it makes sense. And we'll lead up to now. We're still going.
Yeah.
You go now.
Um, after watching this most recent episode, some of his dialogue in the past, and they make a huge point of it of like he loves old time movies. You know, like the golden era of cinema. You know, the 50s,
I have a
60s, and
theory
70s.
for that too, by the way. But well,
I do too. So, and we
probably
haven't talked about
one
this,
and the
but,
same.
yeah, but we'll get to that. But his dialogue for like a modern day PI, um, feels like old timey gangster detective movies. You know, Dick Tracy.
That's the feel of the
Casablanca.
show.
Yeah,
Like
which
right
I
off the
thought,
bat.
which I thought was just they were going for a vibe. You know, the noir detective. You know, private investigator. Um, but yeah, some of his dialogue is a little weird. I don't want to give away like some of the more intense
Mm.
ones from like episode 4, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I got a big one, and this is a theory that I have, and I will only just talk about this part of it, and then when we do the reveal that we just got in this latest episode, we can talk about why I think this is. But he also has these panic attacks from episode 1 through now, where we're caught up. He has these panic attacks in high, or in like intense situations. He has these like panic attacks, and like Chad said, it's very like old school, like private investigator, like movie novel, black and white kind of, where he talks to him. He's narrating himself, like, "Oh, didn't expect that," like blah blah.
Yeah.
And so like when he has these panic attacks, he's like, "No, not now. Like, come on, just focus. Like, try a little harder." You know what I mean? Um, and I have this strong theory on what that is.
I have a when we get to that reveal, I have a little bit of a counterpoint
Okay.
to it after, because I didn't mean to guess the twist, you kind of hinted at something where it's like, oh, now it's nerdy. And I was like, what? And then I started watching and I like picked up on a couple of things and I was like,
He looked it
I
up.
did not. I swear
He looked it up.
to God if he was real.
He doesn't believe in God, so that means nothing.
I swear on my life.
He doesn't care about himself, that means nothing.
Wow, way to just give away the bag there. No one needs to know that I bought a toaster explicitly for a really bad day. Uh, I'm kidding. I'm fine. Our listeners don't need to call on welfare checks. Um, but yeah, I did kind of guess it. So now I have a theory on that. Um, uh, I was still very much not expecting this twist up until this morning when I got caught up. But there are a couple of other things. Like, I was expecting like a double cross of this secret society that is, oh, we don't interfere, but secretly they do. So I was expecting a twist along that line.
Should we give it away, give it away, give it away now?
You should give it away, give it away, give
Okay.
it away now.
If you haven't seen it, again, this is a very big spoiler alert, so please don't listen past this part and then come back and please listen because we need you. Um,
Or just let us ruin it. That's fine too.
yeah, or yeah, if you don't care, like hang tight. I'm gonna do it right now. He's not human.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's an alien, we don't know if he's a shapeshifter or something else. They did not give us any context as to what he is, but he ain't a fucking human. It was the weirdest. I knew, like I said, I knew early on. I was like, he can't do that shit. That's dumb. Like that's bad writing. Why would you do that? Like he's not a fucking ninja. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that you're like, oh, that makes sense. He's not human. Okay, you can talk to animals or whatever. You can catch a fly with chopsticks. You know, you what? Okay. So this is my.
Deflect a bullet.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
Yeah.
kinda. He did something,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But my big thing was his panic attacks, and then you said you had a counter to that. So let's go. I think. Well, let me walk myself back. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm drunk. Uh,
Yeah. That's what we do here.
the very end of the latest episode, which is episode 5, right?
6.
6. He transforms. That's how we know that he's not human. He's standing it and looking at himself in the mirror, and he turns blue and transforms into something else. Um, my and it was like it just kind of like happened, you know. It wasn't like whatever, like a piece of tech or anything like that. So yeah, the injection. We'll get yeah, but I think he has to either focus on keeping that form, or if he runs out of the injection, as you just mentioned, then like he turns back into his alien form. So I think his panic attacks are not actually panic attacks. They're him turning back into his like actual self. Because there's parts in the show where he's like, not now. When he has his panic attack, he's like, not now. Hold your focus. You got this. Like, blah, blah, blah. I think that's him trying to like keep his human form like intact.
Okay. So, yes. So I don't think that it's so much a counterpoint. Um, but like, we see him wake up. Like he was unconscious for part of this episode, wakes up, and he's still in his human form. So I think that between the two is how he stays in that stasis
Mm-hmm.
of the human form. So it's not really a counterpoint to that theory, as much as it's because we also see when he's like seeing a doctor. I think it's in episode 4 where he gets like a checkup from one of this organization's doctors, and he's like, "And how? What about your injections?" And because that twist hadn't happened yet, it's like, does
Fetus.
drugs like
Fetus.
yeah, whose wife did I hit? Sorry, if you know, you know.
Whatever.
But so that's why originally when you're like, I think that he like has to focus on. It's like, but we see him like wake up and he's human. But I think it's kind of like the injections might like help him stay, but then stress levels could influence it. So
We don't fucking know.
my theory is now slightly changed from when I was like, I have a counter theory. That's changed to where I think that we both be binder right. Both might be kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. I don't fucking know, dude.
I wasn't ready for
that twist.
Because I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like it's just like a detective, like
It's
old
just
school
fucking
vibes.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah. You take that back. Because the show is so much better.
So much better. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm really curious to see because I imagine there's only 2 to 4 episodes left. I didn't look at how many there are. The running rate these days is like 8 episodes. So probably only like 2 more episodes. But now that we know this information, is it 8?
It's 8.
Fuckers.
And there's no talks of a season 2.
I didn't think there was going to be one. I've been saying that for a while. It's a one-off series.
Yeah.
I really want to. Oh shit! That's what I was gonna say. We both had a theory about the old-timey shows,
Yes.
and I was like, well, they're probably the same theory. Well, we don't know if they're aliens,
That's
but I
true.
imagine they are. That's where my head goes to right away because the society of weird people that are, his colleagues or whatever, they all have different jobs around the world. They've said that they've been observing, blah, 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 blah. So I think that this is just something that he observed and just latched onto.
Yeah.
And like this is like maybe they like picked a job. Like, hey, when we get to Earth, what are you gonna do? Like this is what job you gotta pick a profession. And he latched onto this because he's like, oh, I'm really feeling the private investigator. That's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not my theory. Well,
Oh,
kind of was like these old timey films, like influenced personality, his style. The clean
same kind of
black
kind of the
suit,
same theory.
classic car. No, but my theory is that I think that each episode shows different clips of like old timey films, and they kind of play into each episode. But then there's like when he's alone, also, where you get flashes, or it's like on the TV in the background, and you like see a scene happen. And I think that those old timey films are also foreshadowing what might happen to him.
Imminent.
Yeah, that's the big one. Is there's a scene? It's in episode 1 or 2 where he's just sitting in his like hotel suite that he like long term lives out of, whatever. And while he's just like working on his computer or like talking to himself, you see that there's an old timey film playing where someone like sneaks in the back and shoots him in the back, shoots the main character of the movie in the back, and they die.
Yeah.
But he's just like working away, and I think that some of these things are foreshadowing of, I mean, that being like betrayal, which we see in this episode. So I think that it's also like the classic films are their own narration tool of foreshadowing and storytelling of what might be to come
Yeah.
as well, which is I'm intrigued by. The show is very clever.
I love that they took 6 episodes to like reveal
Mm-hmm.
that. Like it wasn't just like episode 2 or 3 and you're like, "Ooh, this is a cool alien show." It's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, the show's almost over. Guess what? Bam, I'm an alien."
What? What?
Yeah. What? Literally. I when Nicole and I watched it fucking yesterday, I was like reclined in my, recliner couch, watching kids sleeping, Nicole and I was just like, the fuck just happened? like, like what? This show just took the weirdest turn
Incredible.
in the
Yeah.
best way, but like, the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Like, they just went from like a fucking private investigator TV show to like ET, like,
Yeah.
and then I texted you and I was like, I don't know if you've watched it yet, but this took a weird turn or a surprising turn, I think is what I actually said. And then when we
Yeah.
talked this morning, I was like, did you watch it yet? And you're like, no. And I was like, watch it before we podcast
Yeah.
because it just became worthy of like a nerd conversation.
Yeah. Instead of
Yeah.
just like a,
Honorable mention.
yeah, this show is awesome, we recommend it, to
Yeah.
there's
Speaking
elements
of
of
honorable
science
mentions,
fiction.
This week's episode is sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding.
Surprise! Third sponsors, bitches.
I'm drunk.
I'm also in
Fuck.
Hawaii. Aloha, bitches. Uh, seriously, go watch this show though. It's so good. And if you think that twist is campy and you haven't watched it yet, but you're still listening, like, thank you for listening. But we kind of ruined an incredible show for you.
We warned you.
Yeah, so still go back and watch it. The show is so good. It's really
I would
well
like
done.
to. I would like to go back now because there are like little things throughout that made sense to both you and I when we talked about it. That made sense, and we're like, oh, that explains this. That explains this. That explains that. I would like to now go back and rewatch it and see how many more little things I catch on
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
I might just do
Fuck.
that. And they're only like 30 to 40-minute long episodes.
Yeah, it's not like a
The average
serious
episode's like
thing.
35 minutes. So
Yeah.
and anything else, Jake, that you want to add about
No,
sugar?
no.
Okay. Then let's close out this episode.
But before we close out this episode, we are going to talk about our honorable mentions. Chad, what do you got?
Oh, I watched a handful of things. I've been trying to just, for the most part, try and watch something new that I haven't seen every day. Wasn't completely perfect, but I watched like 7 or 8 pretty good things. One was Due Date. On your recommendation, that movie was fucking hilarious. I finally watched Arrival with Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams. That movie was sad as shit.
Good. Good.
It's so
but sad.
good. And then on an even more sad note, kind of like Good People with Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman was, I watched 4 Good Days with Mila Kunis and Glenn Close. She's a recovering addict, and she has to be sober for a certain number of days before she can get this new treatment. It was sad, but it was very good.
I don't normally watch movies that have actors that represent rapists.
Oh, I didn't even think about.
I literally was just trying to hurt your feelings with that. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
I didn't even think about that when I watched it. But that does taint my view on how good of a job Mila Kunis did. That's quite a bummer. And I also finally forced myself to sit through Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But it's Scorsese, and it's...
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, wasn't that Scorsese?
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, that was Tarantino?
Wait, with DiCaprio?
Yeah, and Brad Pitt and Margot
Yeah,
Robbie.
that's Tarantino.
Oh, that's Tarantino. That's disappointing because there were parts of the movie that were enjoyable, but so much of it I was just like, oh my god.
I fucking love that movie. What are you talking about? I love
There's just a lot of like dragged on dialogue throughout. That's why I thought it was Scorsese, because that's what he does, and then he has the nerve to be like, "Oh, action sequences isn't cinema." I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, that's why he has that's why he has fucking De Niro, who's like fucking 80 years old, trying to pull off like realistic fight scenes in what was that fucking like 9-hour fucking whatever
5.5 hour long movie. Fuck off, get out of here. I watched other things too, but those were
sorry. I got really worked up.
No, that's totally fine. I agree with you on all of those points. That's also why I thought that this movie was Scorsese.
I really like, and he's done it in both Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where you know what's gonna happen at the end, right? Before you watch the movie, you're like, "Oh man, whatever." But just like in Inglourious Bastards, at the end of the movie, they just fucking light Hitler up with machine guns in a movie theater, right? And you're like, "That didn't happen," but you're like, "I love this. This is amazing," right? So just like that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, your fucking fault. It's been out forever. But instead of Charlie Manson's fucking weird ass people murdering Sharon Tate and everybody that was at her house party, they walk into the wrong house where Brad Pitt, who's like the stuntman for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and he murders all of them. And Sharon Tate lives, and blah blah blah. So they like they change that narrative, which is I think it's really fun.
Yeah, it's like not quite historical fiction because clearly the ending changes. Yeah, but it's like an alternate historical fiction.
It's like this is what
should have happened.
What we wanted to happen in those scenarios.
Looking back, this would have been the better outcome. Yeah.
If you know anything about Sharon Tate, she was a famous actress who was pregnant with her director's child, and Charles Manson's fucking Charlie. Look at me just gabbing like we know each other.
Well, I mean, that was how so many people referred to him, even in the news when this happened.
His people murdered her and her unborn baby, and everybody that was at that party. It was disgusting. So what he did is he took something that was awful and disgusting, both in Inglourious Bastards and this movie, and he changed the ending to like a more happy ending. And you're like, oh, the bad people died instead.
Yeah.
This is great. This isn't the impending doom that we thought we were gonna see. You know,
it's the happy history alternate universe. Where monsters
I love
get
that
their
he did
just
that.
due. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. What about you? Uh,
Sorry.
I mean, I have other honorable mentions, but I've
I
talked about
really
a lot
only
of
have
them.
the one, which is Under the Bridge, which I've been watching weekly. It's super good, super sad, super punchable teens. That should be like Marilyn Manson's next album.
Super punchable teens.
Well, because he had
Oh,
indisposable teens.
yeah.
Yeah, so super punchable
I
teens would
didn't
be.
really listen to Marilyn Manson, so I didn't catch.
Yeah, me
that.
neither. That guy's weird. No, just kidding. I loved and still religiously listen to Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, he's
But
a piece of shit, though.
well, aren't they all famous people?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Uh, wow. So just the one,
Sorry.
just the one for us. We've been packing. Those of you who don't know, Nicole and I bought a house in
Hell
St.
yeah.
Cloud. We move very, very soon, which is why my nerd room now looks like an insane asylum. Uh, I have all my boxes. There's nothing on the walls anymore. It's very sad in here. Chad even
We
said when we jumped on the
yeah.
computer today, he was like, "Well, that's a bummer."
Yeah.
Like,
Uh, his voice will sound the same uh, because I do some audio editing for our episodes, but I don't have to add reverb because his room is naturally doing it this week.
yeah, there's an echo in here for sure. There's like nothing on the walls, and it's very weird. Actually, as of next week's episode, which you, our listeners, will not hear until that following Wednesday, that will be the last podcast from this house,
Yeah,
and then we'll be in St. Cloud.
I'm so stoked.
How's that? Yeah, I know you are. I'll be closer to you,
Yeah, but a,
closer-ish.
a bunch of roads that have half the speed limit
Yeah,
and way
and
more
like 5
stoplights.
million lights. Yeah.
So it's like the same drive time. It's whatever. It's a cheaper Uber if I go to your house and make bad choices. Uh,
That's all I got. We didn't really. One of my honorable mentions was sugar, and then as of last night, I was like,
yeah,
"This is a more nerdy thing that we should talk about."
this is a topic
So
that we have to get into.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, first off, thank you to all of our listeners for sticking around. We love you all so much. If you want to support the show, first off, if you have any digital marketing needs, web development, or just need help strategizing how to make your small business work, please reach out to Marty at Digicat Tech. He's been so far been working wonders behind the scenes for us, and there's a lot more to come. So check him out. Reach out to him. He is a fucking wizard with this stuff. Um, Also, like, share, subscribe wherever you find this podcast. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is to go to buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. It's a monthly subscription. It does involve some of your money, which we appreciate. It all goes right back into the show. You get some behind the scenes, some bonus content, all the goodies. If you don't want to do that, I mean, lame, but you can check out allthingsnerdpod.com. Check out our merch store. It's another great way to give us your money, which we love, but you get something out of it. So, it's like a win-win, quid pro quo, if you will. If not, just like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. We love you all, and thank you so much for listening. And this has been the All Things Nerd podcast. While Jake finds his... Yeah, there we
sorry.
go. Love you all.